What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? So y'all know I always try to send y'all some words of encouragement and keep y'all heads up. And I heard something really inspiring today about life and just how life gets hard. And I wanted to just share it with you guys, and hopefully it'll be a pick-me-up. This is from the minister T.D. Jakes, and he was just talking about life and how it gets hard and the rhyme and reason and why we don't always understand. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you.
And then the bottom dropped out. It started dropping when my mother-in-law died. And it kept dropping when my mother developed Alzheimer's and she died. And there I was preaching and ministering and helping and even healing. The gifts of healing operating in my life couldn't help my own mother. And she died. And just when I thought I couldn't take any more, my 13-year-old daughter walks in the room and tells my wife and I that she's pregnant. My wife collapsed on the floor, and all the air goes out the room. And suddenly I begin to understand that there are times that crush the human soul, that try your emotions, that are not judgment or penalty or God being angry or God hating you, but God developing you. That you don't get everything just because you go to a class or hear a sermon. You have to live these sermons out in your life, both the hearer and the speaker. What gives you the integrity of the message is the things you suffer behind the scenes to have the conviction to be able to declare them. To know that God has been proven in you. I found myself asking questions that I'd never asked myself. Where is God? Why aren't you moving like you moved in the Bible? Move for me like you moved for Moses and Joshua and Jacob and Israel. Move for me. And I had to seek him. And that's a good thing. I had to search for him. I had to search my heart to understand what level of faith do you have. You don't need to search your heart when everything's going right. You need to search your heart when all hell is breaking loose and trouble is everywhere. And you feel deep down inside like you want to die. And you're asking questions that you dare not utter aloud, lest the church judge you. But in your secrecy, in your private time, alone with God, you say, where are you? When are you coming? When is the happy ending? And I didn't understand that tribulation is a part of training. That crushing and suffering is a part of how God develops us to become what he wants us to be. I didn't understand how to recognize him in trouble. But I kept preaching, and I kept serving, and I kept going on. And I didn't realize that I was earning my stripes by my battles. You don't get stripes as a soldier if you don't get in a fight. They don't give them to you for longevity or how many years or seniority. They give you the stripes because of the battles you've endured and the things you've been through and the crushing you've gone through. And you find yourself in an emotional quicksand. And you wonder if you can get out. Will this be the big one that takes me out? Will this be the big one that brings me down to my knees? Will I be able to stand it emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Do I really have what it takes? Or have I been selling wolf tickets, we would say? Wolfing, talking at the big gate, saying all this wonderful stuff, and then when it comes down to trial, does it really work in your own life? Not understanding that God is with you in the pain and in the suffering and in the trauma, in the childhood trauma. When the medical report comes back bad and the business comes back bad and you lose a loved one or you go through a painful moment in your life, that does not mean that God has abandoned you. We can sometimes feel aimless and lost and confused and uncertain and still love God. We can feel like God has abandoned us. It's okay. Even Jesus cried out on the cross, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And if Jesus had a moment like that, then we can expect to have moments like that. I found out that the way God rewards you for passing the last test is giving you the next test. That's promotion, graduation. You killed the lion, let me see what you do with the bear. You killed the bear, let me introduce you to Goliath. That the way into your destiny is riddled with bloody battles and scars and bruises and hurts and pain, so that when you get there, you will stand there and you will endure because you have been through something. It was painful. It was tough. It was crushing. And there were no demons to rebuke and no witches to rebuke and no Satan to come up against. I was in the hands of the potter.
I've lost no.
So I really love that because, yeah, we sometimes, and it's good to hear it from a pastor of questioning God and where are you, God? And just remembering that, you know, us being developed and the things that we are going through in this lifetime, it's not for the faint of heart. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. Just anybody that's going through something, you know, keep going. You know, I know for myself, life can be hard. Life can be crushing. But just to know that we are being developed to face the next trial and enjoy the peaceful and the quiet moments, because there will be a next trial if you're progressing in this life. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and get into some news. So the feds are probing into this migrant child labor in the slaughterhouse. I don't know if you guys had heard about that. Let's see here. Let's play this for you.
About what happened inside this Nebraska meatpacking plant. Migrant children like this boy, who federal investigators say was put to work in a job that can be incredibly dangerous. Could anybody mistake these children for adults?
I don't think there's any mistaking these children for adults.
Investigators say the child workers arrived for their shift at night, many of them from Central America. They were employed by cleaning company Packer Sanitation Services, Inc. to sanitize equipment inside the plant. PSSI has 17,000 workers. Of those, investigators say the company employed more than 100 children, aged 13 to 17, and 13 plants across 8 states. Last October, labor investigators say they found nearly 24 children, some as young as 13, working here inside this massive slaughterhouse, cleaning up blood and animal parts in the overnight shift. Nebraska immigrant advocate Audrey Lutz has been helping some of the child workers from Guatemala, who she says are scared to talk to us.
I think these youth are afraid because they don't know the systems in this country that were meant to protect them, because those systems failed.
We spoke to a former PSSI manager who asked that we conceal their identity. Did you ever see kids, people who looked like kids, working inside these plants?
Yeah.
How young do you think they were?
Probably as young as 12.
How did that strike you when you saw someone that young working a job like this?
It kind of makes you sick. You walk through the plant, you can't walk through it without getting animal parts on you or blood all over you.
The company disciplined an employee in 2021, according to an internal PSSI report reviewed by NBC News. The employee, who handled hiring for multiple plants, was found to have hired the same known minor 2 separate times in the span of 6 months under 2 different names. The punishment, according to the document, a demotion and a hiring policy review.
Were managers ever worried that they'd be disciplined for hiring children?
No.
The former manager says the more common outcome was to hold the frontline worker accountable.
You just terminate the child, terminate the undocumented worker.
In December, the company signed a consent decree saying they would abide by child labor laws. PSSI telling NBC News our company has a strong corporate commitment to our zero tolerance policy against employing anyone under the age of 18 and fully shares the Labor Department's objective of ensuring full compliance at all locations, and says they are taking steps to prevent individuals at the local level from circumventing our wide-ranging procedures. Shannon Roboyedo was the lead investigator for the Labor Department.
How is this investigation different from what you've seen before?
I've never seen child labor violations to this extent. Just the sheer number of kids that were working. I've never had an employer or their representative impede my investigation like this, just so brazenly.
PSSI says it was fully cooperative in the Labor Department's investigation.
So, yeah, that story is really crazy. Children were, I'm sure they're not the only plant that is happening at, but it's just crazy to see even this picture of this child in this uniform cleaning up animal guts. It just, the price of meat. And, I'm not going to say this country because this country has child labor laws, but yeah. Let's see what else we got going on here. It's a few little news today. Some news out there, just deciding what I wanted to speak about. Students across Iowa are taking part in walkouts to protest LGBTQ bills. Liz Cheney is getting a new job as a professor for the University of Virginia. A lot of rail unions tell Biden official workers have fallen ill at the Norfolk Southern derailment site. A lot of people getting sick from that. Let's see here. It was, that derailment has a lot of people ill, a lot of people wondering, what's going on. How are they handling that? Yeah. 2 planets will appear in the sky tonight, to kiss in the sky tonight. So make sure you're looking at the sky. Let's find out which planets these are. Most of you will be asleep. So Jupiter and Venus will be observed tonight. So if you're out there listening or watching, look for those planets. Let's see what else we got here. More Ukraine news. Biden's first ever veto might be against the GOP war on woke capitalism. I was reading about this. The Senate votes to overturn the Biden administration retirement investment rule. I read about this earlier, and it pretty much is just saying that Biden was giving companies leeway into changing your retirement if it has something to do with the environment or something like that. It's really kind of crazy. You might want to read up on it. In reality TV news, there is a lot of divorces going down. Real Housewives of Atlanta star Drew Sidora accuses her husband of cheating. She's filing for divorce. Kenya Moore is still trying to get a divorce. She still isn't. Cynthia Bailey and Mike Hill divorced. They were literally only married for a year. Travis Scott, he got into it in the DJ booth. He loses his cool. There's a whole video and everything, of course, but in the video, I won't play it because you'll just hear the scuffle. You can see employees pointing out the panels Travis allegedly took his anger out on after getting into a heated spat with someone in the DJ booth. TMZ has obtained several videos showing Travis Scott clearly agitated with someone in the DJ booth, pushing him in the chest and saying, "Back the F up." In the minutes before the alleged assault, a witness tells us Travis took over the club's music and became upset when the volume on his playlist was turned down. His rep tells us that he was a Nebula to do a surprise DJ set, and they believe the whole thing was over-exaggerated for a potential cash grab. He also says Scott and his team are actively working with law enforcement to get the whole thing resolved. Moral of the story is he's gonna pay some money. Like, Travis, don't you know you got too much money for these kind of fights, my friend? So on TikTok, and I didn't really get too far into this whole mom Mormon talk, but it was like a whole thing. But here's the title: Soft Swinger Mormon TikToker Taylor Frankie Paul charged with domestic violence and child abuse. Video showed Paul putting her boyfriend in a chokehold before throwing bar stools at him, which also hit her daughter, police say. A Mormon TikTok star who made headlines last year for her apparent involvement in a soft swinging group has been arrested and charged with domestic violence and child abuse. Taylor Frankie Paul, who boasts more than 4 million followers on TikTok and is part of the Mom Talk community, was arrested on February 17th in Harriman, Utah, after the police responded to a domestic violence report. On Tuesday, she was charged with 2 felony counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child, 1 felony count of aggravated assault, and 1 misdemeanor count of child abuse and criminal mischief. Per the probable cause statement, Paul began hitting boyfriend Dakota Mortensen when he tried to leave during an argument. Video from the incident alleged shows the influencer throwing bar stools at Mortensen, hitting him with one and also hitting her daughter. According to page 6, the police report said the girl sustained a bump on her head, with authorities calling it a goose egg, while the chairs reportedly left holes in the walls. Taylor is a mom to daughter Indy, 5, and a son Ocean, 2, who shares with her ex-husband Tate Paul, and who were reportedly home at the time of the altercation. Taylor was allegedly seen putting Mortensen in a chokehold and kicking him in the footage, while he claimed she also threw her phone and wooden playset at him, which also damaged his car. Dakota reported feeling scared for his life. Dakota was observed with redness and swelling around his eyes, swelling on his elbows, scratches on his fingers, and a laceration on his neck, read the docs, which will also claim police saw Paul strike her boyfriend as they arrived on the scene. Paul's next court date is March 21st. Speaking with Daily Mail last week after her arrest made headlines, Mortensen said he wasn't the one who called the police and claimed she never hurt anyone intentionally. He also didn't argue. "I don't even want the truth to come out. She's so broken right now. I tried to help her," he also said. "She's a good mom. She's going through a lot in her life. Taylor's been struggling. It's been a hard year for her. She's racked with guilt on her cheating scandal that cost her marriage." So I came on TikTok around this time, and I remember this being like a big thing. But in May 2022 on TikTok, the pair were a part of a soft swinging community, meaning they had an open marriage but was stopped short of having penetrative sex with other people. The arrangement went sour, however, after she claimed to have gone too far with someone else in their community, and some parties involved developed feelings. "We had an agreement, and I did step out of that agreement, and that's where I messed up," she shared on Instagram Live last year. "No one was innocent. Everyone has hooked up with everyone in the situation. It wasn't like I was going around hooking up with my friend's husband. We were at a party, I got belligerent, and we went and messed up with ourselves rather than the whole group." One time it was a one-time thing. She said the incident led to 2 divorces in their friend group. Paul and Morrison, who are both active in the Church of Jesus Latter-day Saints, went public with their relationship in July before they revealed in November that she suffered an ectopic pregnancy. The pair split in December but were spotted back together in January. Their last post together was February 12th, just days before the arrest. Morrison later told Daily Mail, "I love Taylor very much and want to have a future with her." These people are crazy, and soft swinging is never a good idea, kiddies. I don't know what you guys thought you were going to get out of it, but yeah, not good. So Dear Abby has brought me back because I saw some kind of weirdness, so I said, okay, I'll come back and see what the stuff is. So here it is that brought me back. Dear Abby, I'm a man who has been wearing lingerie for the past few decades. I discovered my love of panties, and when I slipped into my first pair at 17. At 22, I discovered the fun and sexiness of bra and other lingerie. I wear them under my men's clothing. I've gone through periods of love and alternating shame for being an underdresser. I have confided this to a few women in my life and received mixed responses. Some were appalled, others were okay with it. My wife is in the first category. I told her while we were dating and modeled some for her. She thought it was weird. I tried for her sake to repress my desire to wear lingerie, but it's returned recently. I've been buying panties, bras, and other items and wear them only at work or when I'm alone. I've found some solace in finally opening up to women at the lingerie store is that what I am buying is for me, and I delight in the fact that they are accepting and help me find items I like. How do I approach this subject with my wife again and ask if she's open to wearing lingerie more often? Living in lingerie. She says, Dear Living, you have already discussed this with your wife and she has made her feelings known. Do not expect her to have become more understanding on the subject of underdressing. You're not the only straight man who finds this practice to be pleasurable. Because this is something you really feel compelled to do, go online, research for cross-dressers and join in your area. His wife, she married the guy. I don't know how, I wonder how honest he was that he was into this kind of stuff. Because if I knew a man had an inkling for that, I don't think I'd marry him. I don't think he'd be cured from it. So I wonder how honest he was of that. Yeah, he should join a cross-dressing group though. Dear Abby, I'm in love with my best friend Mitch. He's a father of 3 great girls. He works hard but can't handle his finances. His brother has to do it for him or nothing would get paid and his daughters wouldn't get what they needed. Mitch has ADHD. He can't settle down. We tried dating but he cheated on me. We didn't talk for months and then started talking again and things are good even in the bedroom. But some days he clams up and won't talk to me at all. Then, when he wants something, he will call me. Mitch wanted a 55-inch TV, so I got it for him. Then he wanted the new Xbox, which again, I bought. He makes twice as much as I do. Last week, he took off to see a girl and lied to me about it, saying he was working out of town. Mitch is coming home this weekend and wants to see me. I know he wants sex. Yes, the sex is great, but I think he's using me. He's 38 and I'm 43. When we are together, we are good, but then he turns cold and doesn't want to talk to me for days. What do you think? Please reread your letter a few times. If you continue to see Mitch hoping he will change, you are lost in a fantasy. The person you described is dishonest and he's using and milking you for everything he can get. Once you shut your wallet and cross your legs, he will disappear. Count on that. Please, for your own sake, make it soon. Hey, I agree 100% about this because, girl, you 43 and you still falling for that? No, ma'am. Let's see what else. I came back for that for you guys. It was interesting. I saw another girl, Dear Annie. I don't know if she's a younger version of Abby or what, but she has some of these things. Let's see what she gets. most of these are about medical stuff. Maybe she's about medical and not about like Abby. Let's see. Dear Annie, I am upset. A long distance relative is visiting my parents. For some reason, he has taken a shine to me, but he is cruel to my sibling. He constantly makes derogatory comments about him, saying he's big and making multiple comments about his size and weight. Sometimes it is obtuse, asking him, where are you going to get more food? Sorry. And similar comments that other people seem to miss. My sibling is very kind-hearted with a gentle soul. I am at a loss and I'm not okay. I do not approve of how he treats my sibling. They just said, you don't mention anything about how your sibling feels about the situation. It's obviously unfair and mean-spirited that your relative is being so insulting, but causing a scene might embarrass your brother even more. Before you take action, pull your brother aside and ask if he wants for you to take a stand. No, I'm gonna say something, because you can't come in my house being rude. Dear Annie is not as cool as Abby, so I'm gonna get out of Dear Annie because I just don't even care enough. And I know we started this off on some good inspirational messages, but I gotta get back into Reddit and their crazy, weird stories because I couldn't get enough of them yesterday. So I delight in giving you guys more, because why not? Whenever it comes up. Let's see. So I convinced a man to join me in a 3-way with his sister. She says, I started having regular sex with a guy in university when I was 21, 3 years ago. He was tall with unkempt black hair and he was ripped. He was amazing in bed, which is why I stayed with him for an entire semester and a half. His sister lived on campus and they were extremely close, like edging closer. They were very touchy-feely. I don't know why this just did this. It's so stupid. Okay. You know what? Let me just wait because, of course, Reddit in this world of everybody wants you to download their app to read their crap is making me download their app to read their crap, and I don't really appreciate it, but I'm gonna go ahead and download it for y'all. Not so much for me, but more so for y'all, so y'all can read this mess about this threesome, and it better be good because now I'm sitting here having to install this app. I could have been completely done reading by now, but no, they doing this to me. Okay, come on. Golly. So lame, and I probably lost the story. All right, just shut up. Okay. You know what? This thing is so stupid. I gotta go back. Because they have I didn't even know that they have all these guidelines. I guess it's a good thing. But can I choose what I want to read? You have to confirm that you're over 18. So let me do that as well. Dang. I guess it's a good thing, right? But geez Louise. Says not safe for work, which means this page is sensitive. To continue, confirm you're 18 and you're okay with that. I am over 18. Okay. Continue. Man, that was stressful. Alright, let me go back. Dang. Alright. Okay. His sister lived near campus and they were extremely close, like edging closer. They were very touchy-feely and constantly gushed over one another, declaring their love for one another, etc. If I remember correctly, she had just gotten engaged and was 9 years older than us. She was extremely badass and fit with jet black hair, a big rig ass, and boobs that had enhanced to a solid C cup. To be honest, I was more drawn to her than him. She occasionally joins us on drinking outings because of how close they were. It was one of those nights when I was struck by their deep connection and had a really second thought. After a few weeks, I tested the waters by mentioning how attractive I thought his sister was. He was like, gross, that's my big sister, etc. But after some prodding, he admitted he agreed with me. As a result, the next time we went out, his sister joined us. I would remark on how attractive she was whenever she was away from the table. He didn't say much, but he did look. As the night went on, they became more and more heated. At the same time, whenever I was alone with his sister, I would compliment how adorable and sweet her little brother was. When the bar closed, I suggested that we resume to my house and split a bottle of tequila. We were all absolutely hammered by this point, so I put on some music and started dancing with his sister. Slow grinding, dancing. I could see that he was fascinated. She was having a good time giggling, squeezing my buttocks, and letting me twerk for her. I persuaded her to do body shots with me and drink tequila in my navel, salt on my neck, and lime in my mouth. I just spit the lime out and started making out with her for the second shot. She was completely intrigued when I looked at her brother and he had a full hard cock. I reached and stroked his thigh, keeping my attention on his sister. She was babbling about how bizarre this was and how it wasn't actually cheating between kissing. While his sister was on top of me, I pulled him over and gave him a long, slow kiss. Then I gave her the same treatment. I just took them and we split up, hoping they'd go for it, and they found success. Slowly but steadily, their lips met and exchanged a long, enthusiastic kiss. I had been anticipating this before I started moving things to the bedroom. The three of us took turns making out with each other. I removed my clothes and began to undress him before she took charge and removed his top. While kissing him, she caressed his arms, chest, and removed her top. She let them undo her bra and bury his face in her teats before the three of us collapsed on the bed. I began sucking his wiener while they were making out and he was playing with her boobs. Once she had taken control of his wiener, I moved over to lick her, and inspire her to continue. She started out hesitantly, but once she got going, she really drilled in. I've never heard him scream before. As soon as they began talking, it became obvious that they had both previously considered it, but had never taken any action. They moved like machines. I eventually just got up and sat on a chair next to the bed and watched them as I touched myself. He was taking it all in stride how much he was railing her. Doggy changed into reverse cowgirl, into missionary, and then a 69. It was fascinating to see this unfold in front of my eyes that had a similar appearance, which added a surreal element to me. I dived in a couple of more rounds before we all passed out from burnout. It was a fun night, although the following morning was strange. Somebody said, it is sad that incest is what needed to get folks' penises to twitch. Regular threesomes not good enough. A effing sibling, yuck. A lot of people don't believe the story is real. I will say that this man has a very crazy imagination. Let's do one more because why not? My first time using sex toys, I was taught that masturbating is immoral and should never be done. While growing up in a conservative home, I'd been horny as you know what for years, and that day was my breaking point. My family is on a weekend trip, so I went to my local sex shop and bought a vibrator and a dildo using the money my parents left. My pee was all wet and ready to go when I arrived home. I took my thong off and experimented with the vibrator. Unbelievably, the moment I had been waiting for finally arrived, sending a wave of pure pleasure through my body. My entire body stiffened up during a strong orgasm, and I started to shake and groan and cream on my bed sheet. The experience was so wonderful, and now I'm addicted to it. And someone said, welcome to the rest of your life. So I did not expect these to turn this way. I mean, I guess when they said I had to do a consent, this is what happened. Listen, they're wild on this thing. Yeah. You know, I know we started off with some inspiration, but you can sleep well knowing that people are, I don't know, I'm kind of speechless because I did not expect these to go this way. I'm gonna have to, I start reading these stories and then I didn't know it was gonna go this dark so fast, like sibling threesomes. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do some detective work tomorrow with these. But listen, don't let that derail you from the inspiration that I gave you at the beginning of this. The beginning of this is that life gets hard, keep going, and also, if you get really stressed, just go to this sex store and get your vibrator and let some joy come in your heart. For me, I'm not masturbating, especially during Lent. But for all of you out there that is not participating and abstaining, enjoy your life, because it's the little things. And I know that this is probably one of the craziest up and down podcasts I've done so far, but I'm crazy like that. Crazy like a fox. I don't even want to say F is for family and signing off, because the F really means F tonight. You guys know that I care for you deeply. You guys stay safe, and I am signing off.